What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Atheist Roundtable. We're glad to have everybody with us tonight, and I've already seen the chat room is blowing up, so we appreciate all the support and everybody showing up tonight. It's awesome, and guess what? As Mr. Chris Mallard loves to say, it's Friday, y'all. It's Friday. So for those that don't know, it's Friday in my world. Sorry, I'm in retail. It's Saturday. My bad. that was a natural slip up, and that's hilarious. So in my world, it's Friday. In your guys' world, it's Saturday. I'm Friday. But no, thanks for coming. And for those that don't know the face next to me, this is the one and only Chris Mallard, and he is the host of the Daily Atheist Morning Show, which now on Mondays I co-host with Chris, which is a great honor, and I enjoyed doing that, and Chris is a great guy. Chris, how are you feeling this Friday/Saturday evening?
I am doing wonderful. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
No. It's awesome to have you here, and we always enjoy having a familiar face. And how am I doing? I spent the day today at the job training, so I was teaching classes on whipping asses, and that's what I do. That's what I do. So we have a great show. There it is. So yeah, go check out the channel, and if you like to hear Chris sound really smart, Mondays is a great day to watch because I only make him sound smarter each episode. So
he provides an excellent contrast.
So Chris, really quick for those that are with us right now and those that watch us later, just give us a quick 2 or 3 minute a snapshot of your channel and what you're doing over there at The Damn Show.
All right. Yeah. Well, I've got the Daily Atheist Morning Show. It's we start 9 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday. Saturdays, we do Sci-Fi Saturday, hence the batleth. For those of you who are familiar, that's a batleth. It's a real live batleth behind me. Anyway, we talk sci-fi on Sci-Fi Saturdays. And but Monday through Friday, we at 9 a.m. I usually have a co-host, like Monday, for example. Oz is my co-host, the amazing Super Oz, and we have guests usually who come on and we talk about various atheist or secular related topics, or we don't. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Then we have Wednesdays, like sometimes we'll do Weed Wednesday if I can find somebody who has some knowledge we can drop on about cannabis and stuff like that. But oftentimes we just have a regular show. It's just a good fun. It's like a morning show on the radio you would hear, but for atheists. So I'm still developing it. We're getting there. It's fun.
Yeah, it's a great. I have a ton of fun. Even when I'm not on, I listen. Especially now that I'm back to my regular work routine and I'm up in the morning, and I'm kind of out of the COVID thing as far as my work schedule is concerned. I try to catch as much of it in the morning as I can. I think it's awesome. And we won't get into it now, but he had a very interesting conversation yesterday, and go check that one out. But no, it's
Ranty Chris.
Ranty Chris came all the way out. But no, go check him out. Subscribe, follow, do all those things. He's got a bunch of great merchandise to check out. And now, since we're talking about merchandise, I want to make sure we bring on my friend, and I hope he has his hair slicked back this evening. We're going to bring on the screen Just Jeff.
Just Jeff? Awesome.
Jeff.
Hey guys. I see Austin sporting the new hat. It's a great hat, but it looks terrible on you. Anyway, so moving on to the website where you can find said hat right here. It's just below the Mute Oz limited edition t-shirt, which is back in stock, ladies and gentlemen. And it comes in two various colors, black and blue. There are several new items, actually, which we talked about on the last show, but I still think that it's important to bring them up. And that is the bracelet, the WWJD bracelet, and the Stadium Cup, aka Tumbler plastic cup, right here. The shirts, you can pick one up, like what Oz is wearing or what I am wearing today, which is the TART official branded merch. Also, while you're at the website, right here, you can go ahead and check the upcoming schedule. See what we got going on today. Here we are. So there's several different new shows coming up among the list here. I think we have quite a few that are going to be great shows, and some great studio recordings and other things that we're adding to the portfolio. So you definitely want to stay tuned to the schedule and what's going on there. Now, if you want to be on the show, what do you need to do? Well, you browse right over here to sit at the round table, and you can take your own hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it turns into sometimes, hour and a half show where we can talk about what you need to talk about. So email Austin, fill out the thing. We'll see if you're going to be a good fit for the show. Banner's cutting me off. Stupid banners. Anyway, so checking that out, checking out the shop. I look forward to today's show. It's really good to have Chris on the show again. So I look forward to seeing what's going to happen here.
I won't break anything, I promise.
Okay. Well, you know, you're on thin ice already. So.
I know, right? They warned me before the show, no ranty Chris, no ranty Chris. But you know, that's just kind of what our ranty Chris is kind of subjective. What people really mean is
right
don't be ranty Chris towards the guest. But if I want to be ranty Chris towards Trump or towards injustice or towards anything, people love that. Just don't be a jerk to the guest is, I think, what they're saying.
That's the rule of thumb.
It's subtle. Yes.
Yeah. No.
If I were thinking, man.
Thank you, Jeff. And I'm glad we're twinning tonight, brother. Glad we're twinning tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tart. No.
Oh, wait, mine's backwards. Hold on. Let me fix it. There we go.
And then the last thing I'll say is if you would like to support our show and what we're doing and get behind it, we do have a Patreon page. It's go to Patreon. It's The Atheist Roundtable. And I will say it again, the capital THE Atheist Roundtable. You can go find us there. And any way you want to contribute and help us and support us, that would be awesome. And for those that already are, thank you. And we don't say that enough, but thank you for the support and what you do to help our show grow and get better and for us to continue to turn up the volume. So we love you guys. Appreciate it. So I want to get right to our guest. And I've been excited to have this guest on, and we've had several conversations, and I think that this is a voice that does need to be heard more, and the volume does need to be turned up on her voice and what she has to say and what she has to offer our community, and just humanity as a whole. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest for the evening at the Atheist Roundtable, Lola. How are you this evening? It's great to have you.
Thanks. So good to be here. I'm well. How are you guys doing?
Good. Super excited to have you, as I shared with you earlier today. And I've enjoyed getting to know you so far. And I know we will continue to get to know each other even more tonight, as Chris will. And we look forward to a great conversation. And before we really dig in anything for Chris and the viewers, let's just get to know Lola a little bit. Just tell us a little bit about Lola. What do we need to know about Lola?
Okay, well, I was born and raised in New York City into a very traditional Catholic Hispanic family. Went to Catholic school from 1st to 10th grade. And then I went to public school where everything pretty much went to hell. I stopped going to class and went to hooky parties and smoked weed and all those great things. And then, of course, you know, like any good Catholic girl, I got knocked up and had a child. I think I was 18 at the time. And then, you know, life was a little rough after that. I moved around quite a bit. I was a single mom. And, you know, some things happened in my life that kind of followed me throughout my adulthood. And that led me to Texas, where I am now. And I'm a victim advocate. I am working on a charity that helps victims rebuild after they've escaped abuse. And I'm an atheist. I've been an atheist, officially let go for about 3 years now. And that has led me to other areas of advocacy that I'm really kind of working on, which I kind of touched on a little bit with you when we spoke, and how ideology impacts trauma for victims of domestic abuse and sexual assault. So I'm heading in that direction.
Yeah, and that's when we spoke, that was part of what you and I had discussed. Is well, first and foremost, I'll just say this point: like there needs to be. I think it's not a maybe it should happen. I think it's a necessity that the female voice in the atheist community needs to be turned up. You know, it needs to be more prevalent. Needs to be louder. And it's ones like you that will take some of the things you've been through and come to the forefront and discuss them and openly talk about them. I think that's priceless. I think it's invaluable. So the one thing, Lola, you talked about was being a victim advocate. I think is exactly how you shared that. Will you, as much as you want to and care to, comfortable with diving into that, what does that mean to you? How do you define that?
It's been a process for me, you know, as I would say that as a believer, it kind of closed me off to a lot of things about the realities of trauma. And I think now being a victim advocate is not just about saving victims from, you know, abuse of whatever kind, or, you know, helping them heal, but also identifying what's causing the trauma, how much of it is coming from the actual event versus what we as society imprint upon that. And there is a lot of ideology behind a lot of this pain that I'm seeing. So there's a lot of people who think they've been assaulted, for example, sexually assaulted, that really weren't. And it's really scary how much we have, how much the word sexual assault is thrown around these days. But yeah, it's not just about the victim, but also about awareness and education and dispelling a lot of the myths that we've been kind of inundated with on the daily. So that's really important as well.
If I can ask, Miss Lola, how does your TikTok? I understand you're into TikTok. How do you work that into your advocacy, or do you work it into your advocacy?
I started on TikTok. I kind of went there for fun, right? Because I'm pretty vocal on other platforms about social issues, and that was kind of an escape for me. But I've come across some things on there that are really disturbing. Especially with regards to domestic abuse and you know, victim advocacy in general. And so I even posted a video not too long ago where I said that I was thinking about starting a whole new channel just to address the myths and misconceptions and the falsehoods surrounding these issues. So, you know, as much as I tried to stay away from it, I kind of got sucked in. There's some really disturbing stuff on there. So I've addressed a few things, but not mostly. It's been fun. So.
Okay, for fun. Gotcha. Well, you know, as we discussed briefly before the show, TikTok is one of those mysteries to me. One of these days I'll get there. But anyway, I thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
I can see. I can see Chris getting on there and doing TikTok dances, but
it's fun.
But, well, I was thinking about doing like a yoga try-on videos. Could I do that on TikTok? Is that
anything on TikTok?
Yoga pant try-on videos? I mean,
yeah.
Yoga pant, yeah.
Probably get lots of followers for that.
Yeah,
I've been saying for a while.
You can do whatever you want on TikTok.
Yeah, you pretty much can.
So Lola, if you would describe, so you grew up in a Latino Catholic family, can you kind of just give us a little peek under the hood as far as childhood, maybe then in your tween or teen years? What did that kind of a day to day, or what did life look like for Lola during that period of your life?
Well, so we grew up in a low income neighborhood. So I lived in the projects, and the thing there among a lot of the parents, if they could, was not to send us to public school, because the schools were it was just not a good thing. So my parents sent me to Catholic school, and they weren't practicing Catholics. They believed in God and they were Catholic, but they didn't go to church on Sunday. They didn't celebrate, any of I did all of the sacraments, confirmation, first communion, things like that, but they weren't very active. And so I think going to Catholic school was more about safety than religion. But we were definitely, religious. My parents very much believed in God, and they still do. So, I was skipped a grade, so I was the youngest in my class, and I was bullied a lot in school. And a lot of things happened during, when I talk about victim advocacy, I was, sexually assaulted as a child. And that kind of followed me into school and into my teens, when I became old enough to understand the constructs of virginity and chastity and purity. That kind of sent me downhill, because at that point I realized, or thought, that I was, sullied and, worthless and damaged. So that, that kicked in when I was, probably around 12, maybe around that age. And then I went to Catholic high school in the ninth. So I don't know how it is in other states or other places, but in Catholic school, it was, first to eighth grade. There was no middle school, and then you go ninth to 12th. That's high school. So I went first to ninth grade, actually, to Catholic school, and then to public school in the 10th grade. But as far as the religion itself, it was just a daily go to school, go to class, you have religious instruction. I don't remember much about the Bible. I didn't even own a Bible as a kid. We had religious class, like religion was one of our classes, but it was mostly, workbooks and textbooks. There wasn't really a whole lot of Bible study.
Can you what kind of got the chinks in your armor of your faith that kind of started leading you towards atheism?
I quit drinking. That was kind of what thrust me. I always questioned, and I think it's this way for a lot of people too, is that it was a process. But I think it was when I quit drinking that it was unavoidable. Whatever questions I had, I couldn't deny them anymore. And I don't recommend quitting alcohol and God at the same time. It was rough.
Not easy, huh?
Really, really
Not
rough.
easy.
But it was, once I quit drinking, it was, the facade came off. The fog went away, and I had to face the reality of, not just my faith, but everything that was going on in my life. Austin and we talked briefly about that moment, the pivotal moment. that some people have. And I really had to think about that. Whenever I have these discussions about God and such, one of the first things I say to people is, well, why didn't he show up when I needed him? Right. So like there's always this one particular instance where I was basically on my knees, crumbled on the floor, just crying and begging God to come and help me. And he didn't. He never did. Like, I've never had a relationship with God, like I would ask questions and I would pray and I would hear something or someone talking back to me, but it was me. It wasn't like it was God. It was me talking back to me. But I do remember when I was a child, I asked my mom, I think I was still young enough to believe in Santa Claus. And I asked her, how come I talk to God and I talk to Jesus and he doesn't talk back to me? How come I can't see him? And she said, well, how you never see Santa, but he's real because of the Christmas gifts that you have, on Christmas morning. And I remember feeling like, oh, okay, that made me happy, right? Because who doesn't love Santa? But she, I realize now she used a lie to justify what she really thought was true. So, but yeah, I think it was mainly when I quit drinking that I had to kind of face that which I could no longer deny. And it was rough. It was really rough.
So, so Lola, and Lola, thank you. I always appreciate transparency and kind of digging into the parts of, I think everybody, whether they want to talk about them or admit them or not, I think each individual has a shitty part of life that they had to go through. And maybe they experienced things that they don't want to talk about, or felt certain things, or had things happen to them that they don't want to talk about. And I always appreciate and value people that are willing to talk about it, not just to help to heal themselves, but to also heal other people, and help other people push forward or advance forward. So I know you, when you and I talked, and you just mentioned it as far as you quit drinking so that you could, essentially deal with it, and go head to head with it without the that coping mechanism is probably the best phrase or whatever to use. And being one that used to self-medicate very, very heavily, I can relate to that. What was that like when you took away that numbing agent, so to speak, and you said, okay, it's time for Lola, the human being, the person, to go head to head with this and have this car crash with my belief system, my religious views, my worldviews, and I'm going to do this with nothing guarding me or protecting me. I'm just going to go head on. What was that like?
Well, I just want to make clear that I didn't choose to. How I quit drinking, I wouldn't even say quit, but I stopped drinking. It wasn't because I made a decision to. It was because I literally got sick of drinking. And it was I say a miracle, right? Back then I thought it was divine intervention, but I was very fortunate. I just no longer wanted to drink, even just taking a sip. I mean, I would take a sip or order a beer just because it was a habit, but whenever I take a sip, I was just kind of grossed out. And so I didn't want to drink anymore. So, I mean, at that point, it wasn't even a choice for me to keep drinking to medicate. I just couldn't stand it. But when that happened, it was really, really rough. I always kind of liken it to standing in the middle of the jungle, butt naked, totally exposed to the elements with nothing, there's no buffer between me and the rest of the world anymore, right? Not having God or Jesus Christ to kind of, or the idea of them to get me through these things. I can't turn it over to God anymore. I just, life is what it is, and the world is as ugly as it is, and people are just shitty because they're shitty and not because there's a demon, behind them, force behind them doing it. There's, and it was really disconcerting. It was really just deflating to know that in those instances there was no saving them, right? If it's Satan that's forcing people to do these things, then God can come along and fix it, but that's not a thing really. So it was rough, and it still is. For me, I'm only about 3, maybe 4 years into this, and so I'm still kind of raw from it every day. Every day I'm triggered by something, especially right now in this climate. It's been really hard.
Miss Lola, let me ask if you well, sorry.
Go ahead, Chris.
Okay. I was just curious about how, so you were a Catholic, you were a believer, then you became a non-believer, and then you became an advocate against your own faith or your old faith. What, if you don't mind me using the word, what triggered you to do that? What keyed you to go that direction?
So one of the upsides of being an atheist is that it helped me to examine the things that happened to me objectively. And I realized that a lot of my trauma, so just briefly, my life has been full of abuse. Okay, just every relationship I've ever had, well, not every, most 9 out of 10 were abusive. And that was because I felt like I was worthless. And that was because of what happened to me as a child, and this idea of, again, purity and chastity and virginity, that is what led me down this path of just, abuse, just these really awful relationships where people just treated me like I was garbage. So it's important to me now to address that with victims, and victims are, a lot of them are people of faith, and they carry those same burdens, they carry that pain of feeling like they asked for it, or if God's not showing up, it's because they've done something wrong, or they haven't done enough, or they didn't ask the right way. These are all things that people have told me, and it's just really hard to watch, and then there's the thing of forgiveness, right? We've got women who have been beaten, to within an inch of their lives, or their kids have been beaten, or their pets have been beaten, and they're in the thick of this trauma, and they're worried about forgiving this person because they think that that's the godly thing to do. And so, I just see how harmful this stuff is, how harmful these ideas and these artificial constructs, how much they impact and delay or even get in the way of healing. And I just feel like I need to do something about that.
So where I want to jump in there, Lola, and you may or may not receive messages in this regard on your TikTok page, but we'll kind of spin off to this here briefly, and maybe it takes over the conversation. I don't know. But what I want to talk about that is what you just brought up was actually some of the trauma, the religious trauma, and some other things that were going on in my life when I met Pasta Mike. Were some of the things that you and I have talked about, just in our phone or our StreamYard conversation. Excuse me. And I needed a way when I got off work and I was alone, and all those thoughts and emotions started rushing in through my brain. Right. I needed something to go to put a smile on my face and to help me laugh. That was part of me, was learning to laugh and smile through the bullshit. Right. Not saying that pushes it away or that it's not a reality, it's not there, but it helps me cope and go through that. Well, Pasta does a lot of, as you know, if you follow him, he does a lot of atheist satirical material, right? So who would have known that part of my healing process was actually Pasta Mike on TikTok, and his original account was called Mike's Ministry. And that was actually part of my healing process. So real quick, if we can, and if we do rewind and go back, that's totally fine. But I want to focus on that because what you just said, and then what I see of you on TikTok, and that's the only social platform that we really interact on. But what I see there, you offer so many ways for other people to heal through just finding joy and happiness, and putting a smile on their face. Do you do that innately, or is that do you plan that because you're fucking awesome at it?
She's muted. We can't. Haro? This is the hand signals part of the show.
I don't know. Like I said, when I got on TikTok, it was really just for fun. I kind of come from a background of dancing and music and stuff like that, and so a little bit of acting, just kind of messing around as a kid, but I don't plan it that way. I just I see something or I hear a sound that's trending, and then, I might come up with something and think that might work. So I've done a couple of atheist skits. Yeah, you might have seen them. And so those have been fun, but I try not to go, too much. Anything that I address, even socially, is lately with the Black Lives Matter, I've been a little more vocal about that. But generally, I try not to dive too deeply into any one particular issue, just because I've been trying to keep it light. But yeah, I don't really plan it to be. I don't want to say I don't plan. I'm glad it brings joy, to other people if it does, but it's not something that I really plan out for that purpose. I mean, I want to make people laugh, but that's about it. So there's nothing.
And it is. I love your humor and style in there. I actually think it's unique. Some of the staging and things you do. And actually, there's the picture I used for the thumbnail for the YouTube. I loved it because you had that fax the binder on there. And I love your subtle suggestions on there that you make, that I think not only are they funny, but they're thought provoking at the same time. And the fact that you can do that just like Pasta Mike does, I think it's awesome when you can take those two things, combine them together, and make people think and laugh at the same time. But what is and this is more for I'm being a little selfish right now. What is your personal favorite TikTok video you've put out?
Oh gosh, I have like 200 plus. I really like and it's an atheist one. It's the one where I play God and Jesus at the same time. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yes.
Like, take it off, and I've got the COVID-19 thing. I kind of dig that one. It's funny because the ones that I really like are not very popular, right? So the ones that I like, fine and do really, really well are just not the ones that I expected. So,
there's the one I'm trying to remember. I can't remember what you kept scooting back. You were singing a song. I think you were scooting back and forth in front of your computer, and the faces you were making, like you kept, like the view would change and your face kept changing. I can't remember the exact topic on that one, but that was my favorite as far as how you constructed or put the video together. I thought was awesome. But no, I wanted to bring that up because no problem. Have you received some of the atheist ones, and even on your TikTok it talks about you being an atheist, and being outspoken for victims and things like that. Lola, have you received any message to anybody that says, hey, just thank you for putting a smile on my face today, anything like that? Because I know when people that create content like yours, I know it's awesome when you get those little messages.
I honestly don't get a whole lot. I mean, I get comments, those are DMs, not too many of those. It's usually people that I know that are messaging me privately. But yeah, I mean, I've gotten, some comments that were flattering and made me smile. I was glad to have brought a smile to their face as well. I do get a lot of pushback too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of the issues with victim advocacy too, is that I've done a couple of videos where I called out an actual therapist for peddling bad information. And, I tagged a couple of people in there because she had deleted my comments to them in her video. And so I tagged a couple of them so that I could get the information to them, and they just responded rapidly. They were not happy. So
hey, what's a little bit of pushback on TikTok? That's what it's for.
Yeah,
I love you. Hey, I love your TikToks, by the way, Lola, because that's like my avenue for it's like a catharsis. You go on there. I can't walk down. I live in Georgia. I live in the heart of Georgia. I can't walk in the grocery store when somebody's spewing dogma at me and say what I really want to say. So satire is like an outlet, and it's also a freedom of speech. But I appreciate you going into your past. But this is the part of the show right here where Chris Mallard's on. Hey, by the way, hop out of the chat, go subscribe to Chris's Daily Atheist Morning Show, folks. Get after it. If you're up at 9 o'clock in the morning during the week, grab you a coffee, sprinkle some atheism into it, get some secular milk, because it's in Publix, by the way. They sell secular milk. It's from the left teat of the cow. Get after it. Get some of that coffee and watch his show. And then Mondays, don't watch it because Oz is on. Or turn the subtitles. I'm sorry. Watch it. Put the subtitles or the closed captions on. And if you're OCD and meticulous, you can actually catch it where you unmute it when Chris is talking. But anyway, I digress. We're going to bring in Murder Shed Steve. We don't really have many questions today. We're just going to bring him in because he sometimes poses as this other guy called Slaughterhouse Dave as well. He wants to chat to Chris about that. So we're going to bring in Murder Shed Steve, guys. He's going to chat to Lola as well. If anybody does have questions, drop them in the chat. And hey, take it away.
So it's time for Q&A with Murder Shed Steve.
Wait. Can you provide evidence that a God exists? Well, hello, everybody. So we do actually have some questions, but I do believe that this is probably the most appropriate episode that I could have ever wore my Mute Oz t-shirt, available at TART.live. So I've been pretty much just cleaning the shed all day, mostly mopping.
Yes, got all the blood splatter up.
What now? What?
All the blood splatter up.
That's nonsense. What are you talking about? Anyway, I do actually have some questions right away, and if we can actually bring Oz up for this one too, it is a TART-directed question. From Grumpy Old Cuss, and he's actually asked this question a few times, and I'm glad that we can finally field this one. What does a simple question look like?
Simple or sample?
What does a sample question?
Sample
look like?
Sample.
Hey, Jeff. I never claimed I could read or spell.
But you just proved it right now.
That I can't? It might be sufficient evidence. Anyhow, what does a sample question look like?
It looks like that.
What's
He
the
gave
definition of a sample?
It's a self-fulfilling question.
Well, you know what? We'll have to get
What's-
back with him next time with his definition.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to know his definition of sample.
Well, in what context are we talking about? Are we saying like whenever you guys go, give us a sample question for the show? Is that what we're talking about? Are we talking about like a sample question that you put on the national census? Are we talking about a sample question you might put on an application at
completely
McDonald's?
You know what, Chris? I think I want a urine sample question from you.
It glows green, brother. You ain't got to test it. Just smell it.
That's nasty.
That is nasty.
Well, I've got a question here for Lola from Christian Apologetics. Is it safe to say that you never believed in the God of the Bible, but a God of religion and man-made?
Yeah. I'd say that's. I don't know much about the Bible, so that's probably.
She's Catholic. She wouldn't.
Fair enough.
I really don't. Like, yeah, I couldn't. There's only one passage in the Bible that I actually like, and it's something about, love what is good, hate what is evil. It's like John 8:12 or something like that.
Now, Jeff, isn't yours like Corinthians 1 or Timothy 2 or something like that? What's it?
1 Timothy 2:11-14.
That's it. Yep. That one's a fun one too.
Mine is some of that Ezekiel. I like getting me some of that Ezekiel, especially.
I keep it New Testament because it goes ahead and just takes away one of the arguments from theists. It's the Old Testament. It doesn't count.
Yeah. I got another question for Lola. Did you seek a secular therapist to get through some of your trauma?
Good question.
That is a good question. I didn't seek a secular therapist, but I got one, and I didn't like it. She didn't preach. She did ask me in the beginning if I was a Christian, and I think at that point I was kind of more agnostic in my process. But I wasn't at the point yet where I thought like I do now that I need to find a secular. I'm sorry. Well, the question was, did I find a secular therapist or did I not find one?
The question was, did you seek one?
Oh,
You're in sample.
no, I did.
You're in sample.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. Totally opposite. I didn't seek one. I got a Christian therapist though.
Okay.
And it was not. It didn't go well.
Sure.
That
Well,
was
I
a good
think I can-
question.
That's understandable that didn't go very well for you.
Yeah.
I've got another question from No Hair Mama Bear. In general, I've experienced the Hispanic community to be deeply religious. What challenges do you face as an atheist within that community?
Yeah, that's culturally
Great
we love us some Diosito and some Jesus. But yeah, as an Hispanic woman, it's difficult. Atheism is just not. I'm the only atheist in my family, and there's only a few people that know about it. Maybe 4, and they've been good. Fortunately, they've been cool about it. But that's.
So when I went to a private, non-denominational high school, and it was only me and the Spanish teacher's kid that were Catholic in the entire school, and everybody else was Southern Baptist.
Southern Baptist.
Yeah. So the reason I learned more about the Bible was because I was trying to prove Catholicism inside of this non-denominational school. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is bullshit. Like, trying to figure it out myself. I'm watching Ken Ham videos and shit. So.
And I heard, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but in your high school, if anybody said different strokes for different folks, they went directly to the principal. No? Moving on. Do you think the abuse / mental emotional captivity is more due to the person interpreter of the religion or the foundations of the religion itself?
You know, I would say it's the foundations, mainly because people are indoctrinated mostly when they're children, when they're at their most malleable, and breaking that as an adult or, you know, later on in life is really difficult and kind of a shock.
Yeah, you didn't know about it until you were 18.
With that. Pardon?
I said, if you didn't know about it until you were 18 and then they started telling you all this stuff,
yeah,
you'd be like, yeah.
It's definitely the foundations. Yeah, it's not. You don't have a say in the matter, right? You don't have a say in what you believe when you're that young, you know. And then as you get older and you start, or life starts chipping away at it, it really becomes quite traumatic. So
it seems to me that it's written into the belief system as a defense mechanism for the belief system.
Sure. Yeah. It's part of the it's an appeal to authority in some ways, because just like you, I'm sure my entire family is Catholic. So they're all Slovak. They're all from Czechoslovakia. So and then my dad's side of the family is from Belgium, which is also heavily Catholic. So all of my grandparents are Catholic. All of my aunts and uncles are Catholic. All of my cousins are Catholic. Every single social event in my childhood happened at a Catholic church. So be it Christmas to Easter to, First Communion and confirmations and all of these things in my youth happened at that church. And it was very important for my parents that I did those things. So that importance gave it an authority. And if it was that important to them, then it must be important to me.
And Jeff is now a recovering Catholic with gorgeous hair. His hair's gotten better ever since.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've said. I'm a recovering Catholic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's a pretty
common
term.
Do my Jeff impersonation.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
I'm going to get my hair shaved.
Well, that's all the questions that I have for the Q&A section.
Jeff's like, die, Chris, die. Sorry, Jeff.
I like this graphic above Oz's face. It looks much better. I can't see that. We don't know how many fingers that is.
Well, hey, I gotta say thanks, Lola, for answering my murderous questions, and Chris, thanks for stopping by and guest hosting.
Thank you,
Jeff. Always a pleasure to see your hair. And Oz, mute yourself.
And Murder Shed Steve, go. Don't kill anybody else. But thanks, Murder Shed Steve. We'll wrap up the Q&A with Murder Shed Steve.
No promises.
Later, Steve.
But no. So before we do get to the final stages here, Jeff, we talked a little bit about TikTok tonight, and you have been quite the presence on TikTok, and you've done some highly questionable things on that platform. And we won't get into that tonight. But have you been able to check out Lola's material?
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's popped up on my For You before, because I pretty much only get 3 types of videos: Christian, atheist, and then some 15-year-old that's half naked on TikTok. So those are basically your TikTok video choices is what's thrown at you. So
and just so everybody understands, Jeff's not a creep. That's anybody that gets on TikTok.
No, if you've been on the app, that's what you're advertised.
Yeah, you gotta say.
No matter how many times you say not interested, you're going to get those videos. Yeah. So I get a crap ton, though, of really good Christian videos, which is what I like to comment on, and a lot of reactions from those. And then also when people leave comments on my videos, making videos in reaction to those comments. So that's the majority of my digest. And it's actually helped a lot with some of my arguments. You know, like it's like a really quick way to dump through some short arguments and kind of hear the same stuff over and over and over again. So you hear the same arguments, you know, maybe being able to reach some of these kids too that are pretty young, 16 to 19 or 20, before they've been fully indoctrinated, to kind of plant that seed to think about this yourself, and debunking some of the easy low-hanging fruit when it comes to God claims or Bible claims, and maybe avoid the situation in which we ran into.
Yeah, and
books.
And Lola, just so you know, the reason we bring up TikTok a lot is that's actually, other than Chris, we met Chris via YouTube, but other than Chris, we all met on the TikTok platform. Like, we built the show based on relationship we built on that platform. So I always want to make sure people understand we're not minimizing, you know, what we're doing here and what we're building on YouTube and the stories and the episodes we're doing. But I think it's pretty amazing and impressive that we have people that met on a platform like TikTok, and now we have a YouTube show. And you know, I'll sound a little arrogant and cocky right now, but we're kicking ass, you know, and I think it's amazing that we met on that platform. So when we meet other amazing people like Lola, we want to make sure that we push her content as well, and what you're talking about and what you're doing. And I wish we had a 2 or 3 hour TV segment where we could dive all the way into everything that Lola brings to the table, that Jeff brings to the table, Chris brings to the table, but that's just not what you can do in an hour. You know, so but Lola, we would definitely love to hear more. We want to hear more. But before we go into final thoughts, I always want to make sure, especially the conversations we've had, I want you right now, if there's anybody that's going through, you know, some of the trauma, the abuse, the neglect that you've experienced, you've been through, is there any advice or any guidance that you would love to give those people before we call it a night for tonight?
I would say to allow the process to do what it's supposed to do. You know, don't worry about external influences or opinions of what people think you should do about it. Don't worry about forgiveness or how long it's going to take you to get, or not get past it, but move through it. Don't look for any shortcuts. Stay the hell away from the self-help section of the bookstore. Just, you know, be authentic in your experience, in your let folks do.
Nope. Totally agree. And side point, yes, stay away from self-help. That's bullshit.
Yes.
But
yes.
Unless you're building something like a table or picnic table, you self-help for that. You know, you might need help doing that.
And none of the Secret or Tony Robbins or freaking Jan Levin's and
Cooking is a good self-help section.
Cooking is great.
Jeff, that's not what we're talking about.
I know it's not. I'm comedic relief. You do the serious stuff. Let me break it up. All right, keep going. You're doing great. All right.
Nobody.
You've almost finished an entire show without causing a problem. Just finish it.
No, nobody takes you serious with that haircut. Get him off screen.
That's the point.
But Lola, Lola, you're amazing. Thank you for sharing what you did tonight, and we, you know, I hope that we can get even further into that on another date and get to know your story even more and dive into that, and we'll connect again. And Chris, thank you.
Yeah.
Chris,
thank you for being a guest host tonight and showing up with your devil horns and everything tonight. One more time, real quick, plug your show, Chris.
Oh yeah, subscribe to me, the Daily Atheist morning show. We do a live show 5 days a week at 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. It's Atheist. I have co-hosts who are fellow content creators in the community, such as Oz. I have Leanne Lord does Sci-Fi Saturday with me. She's a comedian from everywhere. I've got Andy Hall is a comedian, and he's also a writer over at Pathos. He is my Tuesday co-host. So we got a lot of fun. Come join us. It's usually an hour and a half long show, and then on Saturdays we do Sci-Fi Saturdays, and we talk about nerding. We nerd out, and it's just awesome. So come join us. Subscribe. Do the thing at the place with the stuff for the guy. I'm the guy.
Absolutely, yeah. Chris is a great guy. Go check out his show. And the nice thing is, we have opposite schedules. So he's in the morning, we're in the evening. So it complements what we're doing. And Lola,
Well,
I hope to see you on Chris's show on a Monday when I could talk to both of you. I think that would be fucking awesome. So I think, and we can continue to dive deeper into this. But as always, Jeff, thanks for being here and helping with the website and talking a little tickety-tockety. And doing what we do, and God, fucking what?
I just envy your hairline, dude, so much. I do. Yeah, that hairline. I would pay good coin for a hairline like that.
Oh my God, I love that he keeps a straight face all the time. It absolutely is awesome. You little weasel, you can smile. Go crack your face. All right, so everybody in the chat, there's been a lot of good conversations going on, and Jeff finally a little cracked smile over there. But there's tons of good stuff there. Check out Chris.
Yes, sit back, unwind, because it's Final Thoughts with Jesus Mike.
I am not Jesus Mike. I am God. And I'm here to tell you that on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. live at the Atheist Roundtable, we have a gentleman coming that is going to annihilate and destroy your religious worldviews. So I'm going to encourage you to be here. And if you are a theist, especially a Christian, if you want to come on, you can email me at austin@tart.live, and we would love to have you on. Why? Because when you come on, you will be destroyed. Be destroyed. So the invitation is open. Go to the website. If you don't want to email me, you don't want to talk to me, go to the website, tart.live. Send in the request, and guess what? That will go straight to God so that God can get annihilated on Tuesday, and we'd love to have you on. And we're actually going to have a few guest appearances, and I'm not going to tell you who they are, but just know, Christians, yes, this is me inciting a fight, a debate fight, and we want to do that, and we want to have a bunch of fun on Tuesday night. So hit us up, let us know that you want to be on. And you know what? This is completely different than what Jesus Mike would ever do. But these are the final thoughts from God the Father. Join us Tuesday night so that your belief and your worldview can be
Yes, this is a production from the Mute Oz Studios. I would like to go and apologize for anything that Oz said tonight. Actually, everything that he said tonight. Would like to thank the Super Chris for coming on the show tonight and guest hosting. You can like and subscribe to his channel too. That's the Daily Atheist Morning Show, otherwise known as The Damn Show, over on YouTube. Thanks to Just Jeff and Murder Shed Steve from the TART crew, and the lovely Lola Ray for coming on the show today. And a big shout out to Yeshua Michael, that's Jesus Mike. And I'm Pasta Mike. Don't forget to like and subscribe.